You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, and we welcome you once again to the beautiful Lahaina town on the island of Maui, the rightful home for one of the great college basketball events in the country. And with that, the incredible fans that follow these teams, sometimes from the East Coast all the way to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, as we welcome you back to the Maui Invitational, presented by Novavax. And for the final game of day one, we got a great one. Dayton coming in 5-0 out of the Atlantic 10, taking on number 12 North Carolina. They're 3-1, of course, out of the ACC. We just got done with a fantastic thriller. Number 4 Auburn over Iowa State, 83-81. Janai Broome with the tip in as the Tigers overcame an 18-point first half deficit. In the final seconds, Broome able to tip that one in and give Auburn the win in the first ever top 5 matchup in the opening round of the Maui Invitational. It got started with a doozy. Memphis knocking off number 2 and 2-time defending national champ UConn in overtime, and Michigan State advancing past Colorado. Aloha, everybody. Welcome back once again inside Lahaina Civic Center. Kanoa Leahy next to Corey Alexander. And Corey, this game, this is going to be a fun one.
They've all been fun. I mean, think about the day that we've had here, and now you have the opportunity to cap this day off with Dayton, who travels as well as anyone, going up against the Tar Heels, who, of course, have painted this building sky blue, if you consider all the fans they brought with them to the island.
Now, North Carolina, they actually had a stopover in Honolulu. They have a game under their belt here in the islands, and Elliot Cadeau, the super sophomore, he showed out against the Rainbow Warriors of the University of Hawaii back on Friday.
Absolutely did, and one thing for certain, we know that Elliot Cadeau is just as fast in Paradise as he is on the mainland, and he showed that in the second half against Hawaii, and going up against Malachi Smith, who is back from injury, has missed the majority of the last 2 seasons, but off to a great start this season for the 5-0 Flyers.
There's a look at head coach Anthony Grant in his 8th season atop the Dayton Flyers program. Last year led the Flyers to the first NCAA tournament for the program in 9 years. You see the rich tournament histories here for these programs in Maui. North Carolina, they have been a staple here throughout the history of the Maui Invitational, now in its 41st year. The tip is in the air, and it is North Carolina controlling.
And it's interesting to see Jalen Withers basically stole that tip. That should have been in the hands of the Dayton Flyers, but Withers making big effort to start the game off. We'll see if that continues for the Tar Heels.
Here is Elliot Cadeau getting it to the All-American R.J. Davis, and he hits his first 3 just like he did in Honolulu on Friday. As the starting lineups are brought to you by Hawaiian Airlines. Zed Key, transfer from Ohio State, former team captain for the Buckeyes. Here he is wearing the face guard. He's averaging 12 points. Team best 7 blocks coming into this one. 3 ball by Nate Santos is off the mark. For North Carolina, the triumvirate of Cadeau, Davis, and Seth Trimble, about as special a group of 3 backcourt players as you will see anywhere.
Absolutely, and I'm interested to see why Elliot Cadeau let Zeb Key off the hook on that possession. He should have cleared everyone out and taken that one to the rim. It's hard for guards to stay in front of Elliot Cadeau, let alone a big guy trying to do it.
Key relocates it out. This is Enoch Cheeks with the 3 ball from distance that rims out. He's the team leader, averaging 15 a game. And then the other way, very aggressive move, Jalen Withers drawing the foul.
So one thing that you will see, North Carolina is probably the best in the country at running off of both makes and misses. They will not waste any time. Even if they get scored on, they are going to find a way to try to play in transition, come in averaging over 90 points per game. And this is an elite offensive group.
See Hubert Davis in his 4th season atop the program. Last year's ACC Coach of the Year. It was only a 7-point game against the University of Hawaii at halftime on Friday, but UNC ran away with it after the break, 87-69 the final.
Carolina scored 80-plus points in the first 4 games this season, the first time since they've done that since 2021-22, where they reached the tournament game, the championship game that year. That was Hubert Davis' first year as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. Of course, you consider the last time that UNC was in the Maui Invitational, it was played in Asheville, North Carolina, and the head coach, of course, Asheville native, Roy Williams, who's in the building here tonight.
Pass by Smith to Key is taken away, and it is going to go the other way as Cadeau was trying to make something happen, but he's going to be called for the offensive foul.
And Brent Hampton right on top of it as he sees, and what do you see there with the arm, the extension with the arm? That's the difference between lowering the shoulder and creating the contact. Elliot Cadeau with the push-off right there is the reason why that was called offensive foul.
So that first bucket, by the way, by R.J. Davis, they took a look at it at the dead ball. It was a 2, not a 3. So with the made free throw as well by Withers, a 3-0 lead for UNC, make it 3-2 after that one.
The attack by Malachi Smith getting downhill. Just glad to see Malachi Smith back on the floor, as dealt with injury issues for the last 2 seasons.
Contested 3 by R.J. Davis. That one rims out. Off to a bit of a slow shooting start from outside the arc. Key in transition. Oh, and as the great Bill Walton would have said, throw it down, big man.
Absolutely, and Zed Key nowhere near as big as he was when he entered college basketball. A young man done a great job with his body, and that may be... Ooh.
Oh, Cadeau looked like he took a shot, and he is down on the deck.
I believe Cadeau actually fell over a defender that had gone down, and there was contact once again with Cadeau. Blowing the shoulder there, but that one goes in his favor, does not get another offensive foul. They're going to give this one to Malachi Smith. But watch Cadeau there with the left arm extended, and then when he, oh, there's the hit. Zed Key with the foul after the foul.
You can see Cadeau's neck kind of bending backwards a little bit in an awkward position. And then with the inbound finds Withers, and we got another foul against Dayton.
And that's going to go on Santos, who, of course, is familiar with playing against the University of North Carolina from spending 2 years at Pittsburgh before transferring to Dayton. So he's familiar with the ACC foe, but has found a home in Dayton, Ohio with Anthony Grant, elite level shooter. A guy that you have to honor from beyond the three-point arc, but a smaller Dayton team when you look at the front line of Dayton in comparison to the front line of the Tar Heels.
Well, Withers missing, Jalen Withers. Second year with North Carolina, spent 4 years previously at Louisville. And he goes 1 of 2 on that trip. So we're tied at 4 here early. The final game of day 1 here in the Maui Invitational presented by Novavax. Rubbing off the screen on the baseline, that is Santos. Dayton able to get another crack at it. Key, another throwdown.
But I tell you what, when you want to talk about guys who play hard, defend, and get after it, there are few better than Enoch Cheeks and Seth Trimble. And Cheeks with the play right there to steal the basketball from Trimble, which ends up being the dunk for Zed Key. And one thing's for certain, the Flyers will not back down from the Tar Heels one bit here throughout this game.
Here is Trimble. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Davis on the drive, able to create space and then gets the friendly roll.
Great job by R.J. Davis using the off arm to get the defender off of him, giving him enough space to be able to get the shot on the glass.
Zed Key now working against Van Allen Lubin. Goes over the right shoulder and goes off glass and then flexes for the fans.
And you got to remember, Zed Key played 4 years at Ohio State as he makes the gesture that...
And the steal by Malachi Smith. And he gets denied access by Cadeau. Kick to the corner, Trimble for 3. Got it! What a sequence for the Tar Heels. Key for 3. And the rebound corralled by Withers. Another look for Trimble. Same result.
I believe Seth Trimble likes that spot because his teammates have found him there. The first one, Elliot Cadeau. The second one, R.J. Davis. Back-to-back threes from Seth Trimble.
Quick first step there by Smith, and then a blocking foul will go against Seth Trimble. That gets us to the first media timeout. Some up and down action. Dynamic style at both ends for North Carolina.
Great action off of the block shot by Elliot Cadeau. He finds Seth Trimble in the corner, who's able to knock it down. And then R.J. Davis felt it was so nice, they had to do it twice. Seth with 2 threes from the corner.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Novavax, COVID vaccines built different. J-Lab, personal technology and headphones straight from the lab. And by Tommy Bahama. Get your holiday gifts at TommyBahama.com. Well, a lot of travel here to come out to the islands for North Carolina. Distance from Chapel Hill to Honolulu, 4,761 miles. And then a little puddle jump across from Oahu to Maui, 78 miles. Long way to go for the other teams as well. Look at the combined mileage for all of the 8 teams in this year's Maui Invitational Field. And of course, the championships won, 4 for North Carolina, second all-time to Duke. And well, the time zone changed.
I understand this feeling. Of course, when North Carolina came over, I came over as well last Wednesday. And Friday night, I felt just like this young lady right there, calling a game which started at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And maybe I was a little delirious by the end of it, but it was still a win for the Tar Heels.
So, we have not necessarily, by virtue of the start times of these games, done a lot of favors for the fans back in Chapel Hill. You had a 12:30 a.m. start time on the East Coast on Friday. Here's an 11:30 p.m. start time.
But you know who that's not lost on at all? Hubert Davis. He says, hey, it's basketball. We hooping. Let's do it.
Amel Letong, the 7'1" freshman from France, able to knock down the 3 out of the timeout.
And Letong, recently named the A10 Rookie of the Week, gets off to a great start, knocking down the 3 ball. Had 11 points against New Mexico State last time out, and he's a young man that has this ability, as you can see. Knocks down his first attempt from beyond the arc.
Yeah, part of this French Revolution we are seeing here in American basketball the last couple of years. Trimble, what a move. Seth Trimble already with 8 points.
Seth Trimble has enjoyed himself on the island thus far. And gotten off to a great start here tonight.
Yeah, had 13 points, 4 assists against Hawaii on Friday. Santos, amid a crowd, goes a little too strong off glass. Look how quickly up the floor the Tar Heels go. That's Ian Jackson, the McDonald's All-American freshman off the bench, unable to hit.
But give Letong a lot of credit for getting back defensively and, more importantly, not fouling, putting Ian Jackson on the free throw line.
Letong squares it up again. Nobody picking up Trimble, so he'll just shoot it.
I mean, he's already knocked down 2 and then gets the layup. That's a heat check for Seth Trimble.
Javon Bennett controlling. Finds Posh Alexander. And that goes off the heel.
And Posh, who had a viral infection, has been sick, so him playing is a bonus for the Dayton Flyers. Has played in 4 of their 5 games thus far, but still getting back into action, getting back into condition, as you see now. Posh and Malachi Smith on the floor, 2 New York City point guards. Of course, on the other end, you've got a New York City point guard in R.J. Davis with over 2,000 points in a North Carolina uniform.
And Corey, already 6 turnovers for North Carolina here. Not even a full 7 minutes into this first half. This is Jayon Simon Strong drive on the baseline.
Absolutely, and is able to get past Drake Powell, who slips and falls in the corner, giving him a clean run to the rim. Another turnover.
Redshirt Frosh, yeah, that's number 7. Alexander. Oh, he was being chased by Jackson, but he was able to finish.
But that's not rare. Posh Alexander led the Big East in steals 4 consecutive years. The best part about it, he did it at 2 different schools, 3 straight years at St. John's, and then last year at Butler. Still the same guy at the top of the steals list.
Cadeau turns the corner and finishes uncontested. Yeah, Alexander was being chased on that last sequence at the other end by Ian Jackson. They both attended the same prep school, Our Savior Lutheran.
A lot of New York City flavor in this game.
And a whistle underneath, as again, Posh Alexander trying to muscle with R.J. Davis. Another look at the breakout here for Posh.
Well, one of the areas of concern for the Dayton Flyers is being able to force the takeaways. And you see Posh right there with the steal and then ends up with the basket on the other end of the floor. Talked with Posh earlier today. Of course, one of my favorite Alexanders playing the game. And Posh.
No relation.
I mean, you know, we're all kin. Me, Posh, Shea Gildas Alexander, we're all kin somehow or another. But when you think about it, he was coming out, of course, part of the New York Lightning program, EYBL, playing against R.J. Davis, who was part of the New York Wrens. These guys have had a number of run-ins on the court, so an opportunity for them to get at it here in the Maui Invitational is, of course, special for Posh, as R.J. was an All-American a season ago.
Posh, a preseason All-Atlantic 10, third team and defensive team selection. Another turnover. Here is Alexander. That one rims out. And the rebound collected by James Brown for North Carolina. 6'10" Frost.
Right now, Hubert Davis with his 3rd big man, getting James Brown on the floor, who normally plays behind Van Allen Lubin and, of course, Jalen Washington.
Here's Jackson. Smith relocating to the corner, and we'll have a whistle down in the post area, and that gets us to another timeout. Well, the tournament is back in Lahaina, and that feels right, but it also doesn't feel right that the great Bill Walton is no longer here. We will remember the legend when we return.
ESPN, the place to be. Here we go. Hoi Ikavaha. I love Maui. These beaches. Sunshine. Blue water. Black rock. Here next to the banyan tree with some real dead wood. This is what it's all about. Please, emancipate your mind. What was your name again?
Jake Bilas.
My name is Big Wave Billy. Big Wave Bill. What happens if this thing tips over? Oh my gosh. Oh, what's happening? I love getting high on the mountaintop.
I have to catch Bill Walton an ahi tuna because he's got the munchies.
Rainbows, more rainbows.
Bill sampling the local fruit.
And that's why we do it.
Hey, a whale.
Who won? Who cares? I love Maui. Oh.
A wonderful clip there, just showing a little bit of the personality. Larger than life, literally and figuratively. Bill Walton, we lost him earlier this year, and so we have his chair, the chair he would bring around with him everywhere he would go when he would work games. And of course, we're wearing the tie-dye shirts to also remember Bill Walton, who absolutely loved this tournament.
Between games, I was walking around, of course, Lahaina Civic Center, and I was asked, are you replacing Walton? And it was a simple, easy answer. No. No one can replace Bill Walton. Bill Walton was one of the most unique individuals to ever walk the face of this earth, and will surely be missed here at the Maui Invitation.
You look pretty good in tie-dye, by the way, if I may add.
I mean, you know, I got to hang out with Bill Walton a couple of times, and again, you know, he kind of pushed the tie-dye on me. He told me the same, Corey, I think you would look good in tie-dye. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to wear it today. I don't think it's my best look. However, for Bill, of course, I went. Now, Bill wanted me to wear the tie-dye with the beard and the hair that I had when we did the Maui Invitational together when it was in Asheville in 2020. And Bill was a big proponent for me growing the beard and the hair out like he did when he won the World Championship in '77 with the Blazers.
Well, our production crew told us in our first stand-up today, he said, one of you guys looks great in the tie-dye shirt. I feel like I know which one he wasn't referring to. Here's R.J. Davis on the drive for North Carolina. And a blocking foul is going to go against Enoch Cheeks. Cheeks, who is a great defender, certainly plays with some sticky fingers, 6th in the NCAA, coming into the week with 3.3 steals per game.
Yeah, it's amazing when you talk about Posh Alexander, as great as he's been with his thefts throughout the game, and he's not even close to the top when you think about Enoch Cheeks and what he's done this year for the Flyers.
How about that? Grown man move by Seth Trimble.
Seth Trimble's gotten off to a great start here in the Maui Invitational, but I believe Seth likes it here on the island.
He's got 10. Pull-up jumper off the mark there for Bennett, and it'll go the other way. Zed Key pointing at the bench, looking for a sub.
Seth Trimble, one of the better athletes throughout the United States. When you think about college basketball, forces off the contact, doesn't care about that little bit of contact, still able to go up strong and finish and regain the lead for the Tar Heels.
So Key picking up his second foul. He's replaced by Isaac Jack out on the floor. Davis steps behind the three-point line. And Santos clears it here for Dayton. Oh, that one way too strong there out of the palm of Smith. And it will be a turnover. Speaking of turnovers, North Carolina averaging just 7.8 turnovers per game. That's fewest in the nation, Corey. They already have 8 here in this one.
Very rare company for North Carolina. Again, a team that plays so fast, but yet only turns it over less than 8 times a game. And normally shorthanded, a guy like, oh
my word. A major collision there near midcourt between Malachi Smith and Elliot Cadeau. And that's going to be number 2 on Smith. And Cadeau, he's been rocked around a few times already in this first half.
He absolutely has, and you see right here. But now as you look at this play, that may be, well, I know for certain it's Cadeau that creates that. Look at Cadeau with the left arm as he grabs Malachi Smith. Malachi Smith goes up to contest the pass. And as the officials go over to look at this one, this could, I don't know if they're able to reverse the call. They're going over to look to see if this is a flagrant foul. But that's Cadeau that forces that tough fall right there by reaching out with the left arm and grabbing Malachi Smith. I don't think they can change that foul. And for all intents and purposes, it still can be a foul on Smith because you see Smith creates the original contact. But Cadeau grabs him with that left arm. This could be on a scenario where the flagrant would actually be on Cadeau.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think that that potentially rises to that level?
I believe so, and it may still remain a common foul on Smith, but the flagrant could be on Elliot Cadeau.
The officiating trio, Eric Curry, Jamel Spearman, Brent Hampton, taking a look at this. Unnecessary, always a key term when they're measuring a potential flagrant foul, and also an extremely dangerous play there as those two locked up in mid-air near midcourt. All right, we're going to get an explanation
review,
here.
the play stands as called. The foul is on red 11. North Carolina ball side out of bounds.
And again, you can't go over there and change that call to put the foul on Cadeau. So the interesting concern was, would it be something extra? As Hubert Davis is out discussing with the officials, but Hubert doesn't have the opportunity to see the replay like we do, because once he sees that, he'll see that it was Cadeau that actually created that contact. Cadeau was the reason for the hard fall. The original foul was on Malachi Smith, so I agree with that being the case. But the reason for the fall was actually Elliot Cadeau.
But Hubert Davis, who has also seen Cadeau taking some shots here early, also maybe just putting up a little bit of a defense for his guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to do that.
This is a good look here for Cade Tyson, but it sails long. And he's going to hear it from the Flyer faithful,
who have shown up significantly. Oh, yeah. They travel very, very well. You're talking about Dayton with one of the best fan bases in college basketball. It's no coincidence that basketball is loved so much in Dayton. That's why the first four is played there every year.
Alexander putting it on the deck, challenges the big man James Brown and wins the battle.
Tough bucket by Posh, attacking the rim and uses his body extremely well to shield off the shot blocker. Watch as he turns and then uses the proper English off the glass to finish it off. Opportunity for the three-point play, and of course finding the cameras, flexing as all great Alexander should.
And completing the three-point play. Alexander has scored the last 7 points. Dayton by a bucket. Back into the game, it's Jalen Washington missing from up close. And a foul is going to be called against North Carolina. That's going to go against Tyson.
And for North Carolina to be successful as this season goes along, that is a play that Jalen Washington has to finish. A beautiful drop-off by Elliot Cadeau, but Washington unable to get that bucket to go.
Santos trying to drop it down. It's a turnover. R.J. Davis coming out of there with it. Stopping and popping. And then getting his own board. And a foul's going to go against the Flyers. It looks like Alexander's picking it up. And that's his first.
And that was the right play from R.J. Not trying to over-penetrate, pull up at the free throw line, shoot the mid-range jumper, which is pretty much a layup for him. He's great in that area. Unable to get it to go, but still stays after it, comes up with the offensive rebound, and now the opportunity for a 1-and-1 at the free throw line.
17th foul for Dayton, so Davis goes to the line where he has been simply one of the best in the business.
Well, the best to ever do it in a North Carolina uniform, which is saying a lot, because first off, the best ever did it there. You see him right at the top of the jersey on the right side of R.J. Davis. But when you consider all the great players who have gone through the University of North Carolina, for R.J. Davis to say he shot free throws better than all of them is a lot to be able to say.
We've had already 4 ties and 7 lead changes in this first frame. Cheeks sets the feet.
I asked Anthony Grant earlier today, would he ever consider a lineup where he plays the three-point guards, Posh Alexander, Javon Bennett, and Malachi Smith together? And he said, I would love to do it, but that means I would probably have to take Enoch Cheeks off the floor, and I can't afford to do that.
Great to see these two backcourts going at it like this here in a quarterfinal matchup here in Lahaina. 5 to shoot. It's Trimble. Gonna have to try to make something happen. Off the heel. Somehow Tyson winds up with it, and he gets fouled. The ball actually went up through the basket.
But that's North Carolina basketball right there. And of course, if anyone knows that, it's the Dayton Flyers trying to keep Jalen Washington off the offensive glass, forgetting about Cade Tyson coming in. As you see two guys trying to box out Jalen Washington, and Cade Tyson gets the bucket the unconventional way. However, I don't think that's going to count.
I don't think that counts. In fact, are you supposed to subtract 2 points if it goes that way through?
No, you never take away points.
Cade Tyson, transfer from Belmont, providing a veteran presence here for this Tar Heel squad, as you see Anthony Grant talking with the official Jamel Spearman. Flyers coming off of a 25-win season a year ago. Again, got their first NCAA tournament victory in 9 years, taking down Nevada in the opening round before losing to Arizona in Salt Lake City. Here's Hamad Musa into the game and trying a three. Not shy, nor should he be after that result.
When all else is lost, shoot the three ball. He couldn't get anything going. No one was open, so he called his own number and made it work.
The 6'9" freshman from Doha, Qatar, knocking down the three and giving Dayton a 4-point advantage with 7:36 left to play here in the first half. We thought it would be high energy. The emotion on the floor, the fans in full effect. Oh, what a way to end day one in Maui. The Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis begins Wednesday on ESPN at 12 Eastern. Another stacked field here in this tournament. You got 3 ranked teams in Indiana, Gonzaga, and Arizona, and the potential maybe for a Gonzaga-Arizona final.
Listen, after what we've seen here today, I don't even look at potential anymore. Those numbers beside don't mean a thing when it comes to these MCEs, multiple team events. And I can tell you right now, we have had great action on day one here at the Maui Invitational, starting with the first game, an overtime thriller, which will go down as one of the best games ever played in this building.
Yeah, Memphis taking down number 2 and 2-time defending national champ UConn. The game before this one, we had Auburn coming back from down 18 to beat Iowa State in a 4-versus-5 nationally ranked matchup, and it's going to be a foul against North Carolina. I think they're going to get R.J. Davis for kicking out the feet.
Yeah, absolutely. R.J. Davis coming off the underneath out-of-bounds play, and North Carolina runs this a lot, but you'll look at the legs, watch the kick out with that right leg that catches Bennett, and that's going to be an offensive foul, and that is a great call along the baseline. Brent Hampton right on top of it, sees the leg go out. Otherwise, Bennett would never have made contact, and that is the right call.
Second foul, meanwhile, for R.J. Davis. Another open look here. This is Leitong. Hits another three. He's got 6. Largest lead of this first half for the Flyers. Good cut there by Withers, but the pass trying to drop it off to Washington wasn't there, and now Dayton coming the other way.
Withers has to go up and finish that. You put Dayton in transition, and Santos knocks down the 3 ball. And Anthony Grant talked to us earlier about the spurt ability of the North Carolina Tar Heels, but right now it's his team with the spurt on a 9-0 run.
Alexander challenging the big man Washington and finishing at the rim. 11 straight points for Dayton. And a timeout from Hubert Davis. .6:29 left in this first half. It's a 12-point advantage for the Dayton Flyers, Corey.
And Leitong knocking down his second 3-point field goal of the game. Nate Santos getting out in transition, finding Posh Alexander, who attacks Jalen Washington. And if there was ever a time to flex Posh, that was it. He went big boy basketball all the way to the rim.
How about North Carolina already committing 10 turnovers? That is a high for this young season for the Tar Heels.
And which is the reason why they're down 12 points right now. Dayton continues to take the basketball away and turn it into buckets on the other end of the floor as Elliot Cadeau attacks the rim and finds a way to the free throw line.
Yeah, 14 points for Dayton off of those 10 North Carolina turnovers. But Elliot Cadeau, as he did in Honolulu 3 nights ago, trying to make something happen on his own. And Cadeau knocks it down. 4th ever meeting between these two programs. The Flyers leading the series 2-1. The last meeting was in the NIT final at Madison Square Garden in 2010. Dayton won that one 79-68. And a tough schedule this year for the Flyers as well. They have decided to challenge themselves throughout the non-conference.
Well, Anthony Grant has always loved the challenge, so no surprise there. But you can see he has a team that is up to the challenge, coming in 5-0, and they have outplayed the Tar Heels here in this first half.
And that one last touch out of bounds by Drake Powell. So the Flyers will have it with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Yeah, how have you judged the tempo and the pacing here so far in this first half?
Well, it's been all about the Flyers, and more importantly, what they've been able to do defensively, getting their hands on basketball, coming up with steals. We talked about Enoch Cheeks and Posh Alexander, both great at taking the basketball away. And, of course, Malachi Smith back on the floor.
And a tie-up is called. And the possession arrow keeps it here in this direction.
But you know what I love most about that? Malachi Smith didn't go over and complain to the officials. No, none of that. He went immediately started talking to his team about the plans because they were going to keep possession and what they wanted to run. Not looking for any bailout. Great play, move on.
Ten seconds to shoot. Smith gonna have to make something happen. Got blocked, but fouled by Withers.
And Jalen Withers is debating the call, but there's really not much to debate. You can't make contact with the shooter regardless as to whether he double pumps or not. You can't make contact. There's contact on the three-point shot. Jump straight up, stay away, use your size to defend it in comparison to your body.
And a foul in the act of shooting a three-pointer, which will bring about 3 free throws here for Malachi Smith. And he misses the first. Smith, who has been snake-bitten by injuries throughout his career.
He's been snake-bitten by injuries throughout his career, but Malachi Smith comes into this game shooting better from the field and from the three-point arc than he does from the free throw line. That's not something you often see for a guy who's not only a veteran, but is an all-league performer in his first couple of years.
Yeah, that's a good point there. 4th year with Dayton. Suffered a torn ACL 7 minutes into the opener last season, as Laytong's going to be called for the over-the-back.
And this is an important stretch for North Carolina right now because you don't want to allow Dayton to continue to build in this lead, the remaining 5:50 in this first half. For Hubert Davis's group, it's about the time where you got to try to find a way to cut into this lead. Now, you're doing this with your All-American on the bench, R.J. Davis, with 2 fouls, sitting and watching right now, but Jalen Withers will have an opportunity at the free throw line to make this a single-digit game without any time going off the clock.
North Carolina has been, the last few seasons, one of the best free throw shooting teams in college basketball.
Yeah, North Carolina comes in shooting over 80% from the free throw line in every game so far this season, so they truly use the stripe as a weapon.
6th in the country coming in, 82.6% from the line to be exact. Now, in this game, 9 of 11. Cheeks goes to the left hand. What kind of shot was that?
That's nice. That's great offense beats good defense anytime. Enoch Cheeks switching over to the left hand to get the bucket.
That was pretty smooth.
Yes, it was. And great defense by Cheeks out there closing out, blocking the three-point attempt for September, where he's already made 2 in this first half from that corner.
Here's Cheeks off the handoff. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Laytong with a big height advantage here, and he gets fouled by Trimble. 7-1 versus 6-3, and Trimble picks up his second.
Look at Enoch Cheeks attacking the basket. Great defense by Seth Trimble. However, he was contesting the wrong hand. Enoch Cheeks, seeing the good defense by Trimble, goes with even better offense, switching it over to the left with great touch to finish it off.
And this now becomes the largest lead of this first half for the Flyers. R.J. Davis coming back into the game.
Yeah, Hubert Davis going to trust R.J. to make sure that he doesn't pick up that third foul. And again, you'll take him until the media timeout, which should come after under 4 minutes on the clock. Maybe take him out again and give him a spell on defensive possessions as much as you can, but play a little offense-defense with R.J. for the remaining 4+ minutes.
How about what the freshman Amel Letong has given Anthony Grant? 8 points, couple of boards in just over 5 minutes. Davis challenges him, though, and wins and won.
And that's why you put R.J. Davis back in the game. Now, if I'm Hubert Davis, I'm sending someone to the scores table right now to sub R.J. out on a defensive possession after he makes the free throw, which, of course, you would bank on North Carolina's all-time leading free throw percentage shooter to do.
Corey Alexander sticking his neck out a little bit here.
No, I mean, that's just the way I would do it. A defensive possession, I wouldn't leave him on the floor. He's playing with 2 fouls. I want to make sure I get him off the floor, allow him to continue to be aggressive on the offensive end.
No, I meant risking the announcer jinx by talking about the free throw.
That doesn't matter with R.J. Not with R.J.
Tar Heel faithful making some noise. Left corner three ball, Bennett.
Big bucket from Bennett, who stepped in last year. You mentioned Malachi Smith getting injured 7 minutes into the first game of the season. Javon Bennett stepped in as the point guard, ran the show all year, and now is playing off the ball on the shooting guard position.
Davis kicks it to the corner. Now Cadeau spins into the lane, was out of control, called for steps.
But Cadeau should have moved that when Ian Jackson had a look on the wing. Elliot Cadeau did not deliver it. And he had a 3 opportunity. And let's talk about someone who took care of their opportunity for 3. It would be Javon Bennett hitting all bottoms.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. And by Mauna Loa Macadamia Nut. Find our iconic macadamia snacks at grocery stores nationwide.
The Dayton Flyers hold a 12-point advantage from beyond the 3-point arc, and they have had 5 different Flyers knock down a 3. The advantage has been for them alongside that arc, and they have spaced out this North Carolina defense and taken advantage of those opportunities when they've gotten them so much to where they hold a 14-point lead with 3:53 remaining here in this first half.
And now our star stories brought to you by Moana 2, Posh Alexander, Amel Letong, 9 and 8 respectively. Seth Trimble had the hot start. He's got 10. R.J. Davis playing with the 2 fouls. He's got 9 points.
Speaking of stars, okay, so Moana, I haven't seen Moana 1. I got to go watch that before I see 2. But is that The Rock? Is that
that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson there. Okay,
yeah.
I was just making sure that was.
I believe they're working on a live action version as well with Dwayne The Rock Johnson playing the role of Maui. Good follow-up there. It's Isaac Jack. After the Enoch Cheeks miss. Ian Jackson quickly the other way. That happened in a blink of an eye.
And that's North Carolina basketball, but the problem is North Carolina giving up second chance points and trying to run afterwards. The Tar Heels have to find a way to slow down this Dayton offense.
Alexander got stripped there by Withers. Nice hands by the big fella, and then a foul in the backcourt committed by Enoch Cheeks. 3 minutes to go. It's a 14-point advantage here for Dayton. And everybody for the Flyers, this is an interesting note here, everybody for the Flyers has scored. Everybody in the scoring column.
Oh, it's been an absolute team effort for the Flyers thus far. You see Cheeks going for that, but even though he doesn't get it, his natural inclination is to go after the basketball. We talked about him coming in 3.3 steals per game. but it's not just Cheeks. It's everyone getting involved in the defensive side of it as well.
And to your point, it's not just the starters either. 24 bench points for the Dayton Flyers.
Well, you got to think about, of course, Laton coming in, knocking down multiple threes. Posh Alexander has been special here in this first half, and Isaac Jack is yet to miss a shot this season.
Here's Santos from the corner. And that's going to stay here. That one caught Jalen Withers by surprise. He thought it was maybe going to ricochet and just was caught in an awkward spot there under the basket. Quick release there for Bennett. And Drake Powell collects it. Another one of those freshmen, McDonald's All-American for the Tar Heels. And that's going to be an offensive foul called against Elliot Cadeau.
And that's going to be the second one for Cadeau in this game. We saw it early in the game, pushing off with the right arm. This time, watch the left arm. As he gets in, it clears out Jack. And that is the right call. Once again, the official's right on top of that. You have to stay within your own cylinder. Once you get outside, now he invaded Jack's cylinder on that play.
12 turnovers for North Carolina here in this first half. Bennett will try another three, and he'll knock down another three. That is 7 made triples for the Flyers.
But that's going to be a foul, I believe, on Jack underneath, which will send North Carolina to the free throw line.
Yeah, both teams over the 10 foul limit, and so double bonus in effect.
Now, the way Cheeks is responding, see who this foul is on. Oh, no, I believe they're going to get Cheeks because Cheeks wants a flop on that possession. They're going to get Enoch Cheeks on that one.
And that is number 3 for Enoch Cheeks, so you can understand why he was protesting so adamantly, but with 2:10 left, Enoch Cheeks picking up his 3rd.
And that's a big foul. He's very vital to this Dayton Flyer team. And again, when you talk about being aggressive, we mentioned he's the best at taking the basketball away, and that's what the Flyers have done to be able to build this lead. But playing with 3 fouls and to start the second half could take away from some of his aggressiveness.
Well, we saw an incredible comeback by Auburn in that top 5 matchup in the game that preceded this one against Iowa State. North Carolina itself almost had an incredible come from behind effort against Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse back on November 8th when they were down by as many as 20 in the first half, ended up losing by just 3. But they got some work to do here against the Dayton Flyers. Not slowing down, or at least showing any signs that they are, as Posh Alexander strikes again.
Posh continues to attack, and one thing you don't see for North Carolina is rim protection. There's no one on the interior deterring Posh Alexander or any of the guards from getting downhill. Posh Alexander attacking, sees Jalen Withers, but is not deterred. Jumps into the body, Withers gets out of the way, and Posh gets the easy layup.
11 points for Posh Alexander. He's the top scorer on the floor at the moment. R.J. Davis, though, with 9 going to the free throw line. So turnovers obviously going to be something that Hubert Davis is going to have to reference here at halftime. What other adjustments do you foresee here for the Tar Heels moving forward?
Well, I mean, that's the big thing because Dayton has been able to score points off those turnovers, but more importantly, get out in transition where they've been able to knock down the 3. So you've got to be able to guard the 3-point line better if you're North Carolina. As we see R.J. Davis actually miss a free throw, which is very rare.
Yeah, that's just his 4th missed free throw this season. Ten seconds on the shot clock. Here's Santos. Steps back behind the line. Doesn't get the bounce. Davis rips away the board. Cadeau tries a 3. And look at Bennett down there amongst the trees grabbing the rebound.
Not surprised at all. You got a group of tough guards on this Dayton team. Not surprised at all to see Bennett get in there and mix it up.
Flyer fans applauding their team's effort here in this first half. Bennett drops it off, and the lay-in is good there for Jack. The lead is 18 for Dayton. Here's a look from the corner for Withers. And a rebound ripped down by Jack, and Dayton can hold for the final offering here in this first frame.
Smart play by Posh Alexander. He wanted to go, but then recognized the clock and seeing that, hey, we can get the last opportunity here and maybe push this to a 20-point lead at half.
5 seconds. Bennett from distance. Davis the rebound, and that's how the first half comes to a close. How about this day one in Maui? Number 2 has already gone down. Number 5 has already gone down. And number 12, North Carolina, trailing by 18, heading into the locker room.
The Dayton Flyers have turned 12 North Carolina turnovers into 19 points. That is the difference in this game, and Hubert Davis will address it at half.
We'll get you to the studio after the break. Seth and Sean coming up. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Halftime here, final game of day one in Lahaina, and it is the Dayton Flyers on top by 18 over 12th-ranked North Carolina, 51-33, as we welcome you back to the Maui Invitational, presented by Novavax. How about this day one? Number 2 has already gone down, number 5 has already gone down, and now number 12 back against the ropes with 20 minutes left to play. And we welcome you back inside Lahaina Civic Center next to Corey Alexander. I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Corey, time now for our expert moves brought to you by Principal.
Well, the expert moves were made by the Dayton Flyers in the first half of this game, and the expert move was just to get after the basketball. Turn your turnovers and your steals into points. 19 points off turnovers, off of 12 turnovers by the North Carolina Tar Heels, and everyone was getting into the mix. Posh Alexander getting his hand in the cookie jar, and then defensively building the wall around the basket, allowing North Carolina's miscues to turn into threes for Santos on the offensive end.
Taking a look at our first half stats brought to you by Novavax. How about the bench scoring for Dayton? 28 of the 51 points here at halftime, and the 12 turnovers for North Carolina, a season high already. So they've got to clean that up first and foremost, Corey.
But it's so interesting. We asked Anthony Grant earlier today, it looks like you have some depth. He said, we'll find out. He wasn't sure if his depth was up for this challenge, if he could play all of his guys and get this type of production. I believe he would agree now that they have depth on this Dayton Flyers team.
Well, we saw a pretty remarkable comeback from Auburn, down 18 at one point in the last game against Iowa State. Can North Carolina do the same? At least that first possession does not go their way, as Jalen Washington is called for the traveling violation.
Another turnover for North Carolina to start the second half, and I'm sure that was the last thing Hubert Davis wanted to see from his team.
And now we have a whistle against Washington down in the post, so tough sequence here over the first 18 seconds of half number 2 for Jalen Washington.
And Hubert Davis wasn't happy with the production he got from Jalen Washington or Ben Allen Lubin in the first half, so much to where he went to the freshman James Brown to try to give them a boost. But as of right now, really haven't been able to get much production at all from anyone up front in the Tar Heel uniform.
Yeah, Washington and Lubin combining for just 13 minutes in that first half. Davis for 3. Pops out, Washington to follow. And that may get him back in his graces.
It looks as though the message was received from Jalen Washington at halftime. His teammates need him to be successful. And now the second forced turnover by the Heels.
Davis Somehow it trickles out. Washington had his hand on the rebound, but loses it to Malachi Smith. And Zed Key, who had a strong start to that first half, now back to the basket against Washington. Too strong off the glass. Right there is Enoch Cheeks to give the Flyers another crack at it.
But the ball did not hit the rim, so no reset on the shot clock.
Smith, oh, that one got swiped away. Seth Trimble saying,
And that's what Seth Trimble does. One of the better defenders you're going to see in college basketball. Able to slide his feet and then athletic enough to be able to still come up with the block shot.
6 seconds to shoot. Santos wanted a call, no such whistle. Here's Trimble in transition. He can't finish.
Another missed opportunity. North Carolina with 2 shots off of loose balls to be able to get to the rim, unable to get them to go in the last 2 possessions.
Certainly seeing a little extra fire here defensively from North Carolina first few possessions. Smith will try a 3 from the corner. That's good.
Jalen Withers helping, not allowing Jay Wash to stand his own with Zed Key. But you leave Malachi Smith, who comes in shooting 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, very well throughout the early part of this season.
And Dayton now with its largest lead at 19. Smith. Santos turning the corner, draws the foul. And it looks like Cadeau's going to pick this one up. That'll be his 3rd.
And the 3rd foul on Cadeau. Now, it seems as though Dayton, even with North Carolina having the flurry to start this second half, Dayton has just been the aggressor throughout this entire game. They've been faster to loose balls, of course, offensive rebounds and taking turnovers the other direction, turning them into points. And now a 20-point lead for the Flyers.
And the generous rims of Lahaina Civic Center helping out on that free throw there for Nate Santos. At 23 points, 6 of 10 shooting from outside the arc against New Mexico State on November 20th. Make it now a 21-point advantage. Cadeau trying to do it himself. That one twirls out, but he will shoot free throws. We expected this to be a really competitive basketball game. How surprised are you with just how lopsided, at least at the moment, it is in favor of Dayton?
Well, if you see the conversation right now going on between Hubert Davis, Jalen Withers, and Jalen Washington, and how animated Hubert Davis is with his front court players, you can see he's not happy with what's going on. That's the surprising part, is that, you know, they really haven't been able to get much production at all in the front court. And to this point, not only have the guards of Dayton been just as good, they've been better than the North Carolina guards through the first 22 minutes of this game.
Smith short-armed that one. And now we'll have a whistle. Looks like Zed Key might pick this one up.
And great recognition by Jalen Washington there as the lob is thrown. He's able to go get it out of the air, come up with that possession. And North Carolina's done a better job defensively. They just haven't been able to capitalize on the turnovers and the misuse of Dayton the way Dayton did in the first half against the Heels.
Cadeau going to challenge Santos, and he wins. How about the 3 guards for North Carolina? 10 points for Cadeau, 10 points for R.J. Davis, 10 points for Trimble. They are going to have to be the ones to lead the way.
Absolutely. Those numbers are going to have to double for each of them if they're going to have a chance to win this game.
That one bounces off of the toe, it looked like, from Cadeau, who ends up going slip and slide, diving for the basketball, but he's called for the foul.
And his 4th foul. And again, I understand the effort, Elliot Cadeau, I do, but you cannot put yourself in that position with 3 fouls. You've got to play it smarter than that, knowing that you're in foul trouble. The body is already there picking up the basketball, as he crashes into Bennett. That's going to be called a foul every time. You just can't take that risk.
Yeah, like you're saying, you applaud the effort, but under those circumstances, now North Carolina is without their fantastic guard, Elliot Cadeau, for what you would imagine will be some time here in the second half.
So here's the thing. In the Kansas game, when North Carolina was down, they made the big comeback. One guy who had a big game for them is the freshman, Ian Jackson. Ian Jackson now on the floor in a big spot for the Tar Heels.
Looks like some blood there on the face of Nate Santos. And there is Ian Jackson. And 6'4" Frosh.
Yeah, and Ian Jackson, who does not play like a freshman, put into a big moment here with an opportunity to help his team try to cut into this 17-point lead.
Yeah, they're going to need a whole lot of Captain Jack here in the second half.
Absolutely. Captain Jack will have to lead the way.
Smith trying to turn the corner on Davis. Goes up high off the glass with the left. Batted out of bounds, last touch by the Tar Heels. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 16:33 on the game clock. Dayton making its 5th appearance in the Maui Invitational. 9-3 all time as Smith rises up, and that was butter.
Malachi Smith with a big bucket right there. And again, you got to think about the fact that Posh Alexander, Malachi Smith, all New York City guards, playing against R.J. Davis, first-team All-American a season ago, New York City guard. They wanted this challenge here in the quarterfinal round of the Maui Invitational.
Simon saw the lane, tried to take advantage, but wasn't able to do so. Yeah, Dayton lost to Kansas in a fantastic final in the 2019 Maui Invitational. You know Anthony Grant wanted another stab to try to earn the hardware here in Lahaina. Jackson for 3. How about Trimble getting the offensive board and put back?
Big bucket from Seth Trimble there, and you love the energy, you love the effort. Going to need more of it for Carolina if they're going to try to mount a comeback.
Cheeks for 3. Gets his own board. Leaves it short a second time, and it was last touched out of bounds by Jalen Washington. 58-41. Dayton trying to hang on to this double-digit advantage. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. And by Novavax. COVID vaccines built different.
Maui Invitational rolls into the championship game. That trophy's going to be brought onto the court as soon as this game is over. Toppin was thinking about driving him and said a step back 3.
That's why you got to get him the ball.
Oh, Toppin.
Kansas has had to play its best basketball. They're in the driver's seat right now with 15 seconds to go.
A force 3. Yes! Crutcher ties the game. Obi Toppin's got 5 more minutes in him. Over the top. And the finish for Azubuike. Spectacular game here in the championship in Maui.
Dayton is legit. Kansas had to play its best game of the year to win this game.
Well, we mentioned it, 2019, one of the great championship games between then 4th-ranked Kansas and Dayton. Obi Toppin had 18 points, 9 rebounds in the overtime loss. Devin Dotson had 31 for KU. Udoka Azubuike had 29 points for the Jayhawks. And there is a photo of the fist bump at the post-game press conference between AG, Anthony Grant, and Obi Toppin.
Tell you what, a great year for the Dayton Flyers. Of course, that year ended shortly with COVID, so no NCAA tournament, but the Flyers would have gone into that tournament as a #1 seed, and it all started for them here at the Maui Invitational.
Anthony Grant has had experience having to replace a player like Obi Toppin. You had Tumani Kamara couple of years ago, and then last year, of course, losing from last year's squad, Deron Holmes.
It's a first-round pick.
And rings out there for Amel Letong. RJ Davis, the quick release.
And North Carolina needs much more of that. Only their third three-point field goal made in this game. They're going to need much more of RJ to be able to try to mount a comeback in this one.
Yeah, the first make for RJ Davis. Had his hands on the board, ripped away by Enoch Cheeks. And a near steal by Trimble, but it'll come back as he's called for the foul. And that's going to be number 3 on Seth Trimble.
And Seth Trimble thinking, why is it a foul when it's him in comparison to when it's Enoch Cheeks, who's done a great job of stealing passes from behind. We saw Cheeks do it again. We saw it early in the first half, and he was able to turn it into points for his team and comes up with another steal off of a rebound.
Santos gets the friendly roll.
And it ends up being a three-point possession, but credit Enoch Cheeks with the steal to get it back.
RJ Davis, the step back. Can't respond, chases down his own miss. Jackson will try one, and he'll knock it down.
Hubert Davis wants the timeout. Expect 94-foot pressure when we return. That's what Carolina does when they get down. We'll see when we get back.
It's a battle of blue bloods in Las Vegas. Cooper Flagg and the Blue Devils take on Hunter Dickinson and the Jayhawks. The Terry's Chocolate Vegas Showdown. Number 1 Kansas, number 11 Duke. Tuesday on ESPN.
Well, we're looking forward to that matchup. My man is struggling here to stay up to watch the conclusion of this one, Corey.
When you say we, who all do you mean? Because I do not think that this young man is looking forward to any matchup, because he is losing to the Sandman right now.
Saw some of the storylines from day one here in Lahaina. Number 2 UConn going down in overtime to Memphis as the foul goes against Amel Letong. That's his third.
Anthony Grant having to be restrained by his staff. Not happy about that call. And it happens right in front of him. And Anthony Grant not happy to see that offensive foul called against his group.
Number 5, Iowa State also going down to number 4, Auburn. First ever top 5 matchup in the opening round of the Maui Invitational. Auburn coming back from down 18 points at one stage in the first half. North Carolina trying to avoid being the 3rd ranked team to go down here in the quarterfinals of this edition of the Maui Invitational, but a 3rd foul picked up there by RJ Davis.
And give Bennett tremendous credit for sliding his feet as Roy and Wanda Williams look on. Watching the Tar Heels in trouble right now, down 14 with 13:20 remaining.
Good lob into Letong, and a goaltending is going to go against Washington.
Now, they have the ability to be able to go look at that in the timeout. I'm pretty sure that they were sure about it, but from our angle, it looked like that basketball was still on the way up.
Saw the legendary Roy Williams moments ago. 3 times won the Maui Invitational and the national championship in the same. Head coach at North Carolina.
However, his last time coaching it, the Maui Invitational, Carolina, his hometown, and they lost on a buzzer beater against Texas.
Josh Alexander on the miss. RJ Davis. That one rattles out. The follow-up, though, by Jalen Washington.
Much better effort from Jalen Washington in this second half. The offensive rebound, the putback. And right now, the North Carolina faithful trying to encourage their team to mount a comeback. 12:15 remaining. As you see this shot go up, let's see the plight of the ball. It's close. But right there nope, that's a great call. Once again, it is all started on its descent. It's coming down. No need to check that one out. Great call by our officiating crew.
Closing in on 12 minutes to play here in this final game of day one. The runner there by Bennett falls short.
North Carolina's done a much better job defensively in this second half. Dayton has not scored as easily. The problem has been on the offensive end, North Carolina having a hard time making up ground.
Yeah, Dayton just shooting 25% in this second half, to your point. And a foul picked up there by the Flyers. That takes us to a timeout. North Carolina trying to get back in the mix. In partnership with North Carolina's retired head coach Roy Williams, the Maui Invitational presented by Novavax hosted a clinic for the Lahaina Luna High School boys and girls JV and varsity teams this past Saturday at the Lahaina Dream Court. Participants leave with new skills thanks to Chaminade's head coach Eric Bovaird. They leave with a basketball and tickets to a tournament game.
My guy, Roy's a lifer in this game. You consider the fact that, I asked him yesterday about, I can't even remember what I asked him about, but he said if I wanted to work, I would still be coaching. And I said, but you're still here in the gym around. And he was like, it's completely different for me. You see Roy on the mural here. Of course, 3 championships for him in the Maui Invitational, one of the best to do it along the college basketball sideline.
Yeah, one of the great things he said was he wouldn't leave, as you see the 3 from the corner by Drake Powell. They needed that. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't get on the plane until the tournament officials promised that they would provide an invitation. In fact, invitation in hand before he got on the plane.
He wanted a signed contract, basically saying, I'm back in 4 years.
An 8-2 North Carolina run. They're within 11. About as close as they've been in a while. Cheeks lets it fly, and he drills it.
Tell you what, Cheeks has had the answer each and every time, whether it's making a play defensively or knocking down a big 3 on that last possession.
8 points for Enoch Cheeks, and then Trimble, the bruise and the bucket.
Seth Trimble attacking the basket, the spin, the contact, the finish with the left hand, opportunity for the 3-point play.
So Seth Trimble with 14 points going to the free throw line for the first time. And the Tar Heels showing signs of life here, a little over 11 minutes to go.
But the response from Dayton on the last possession with Cheeks for the 3. Will Dayton have another response here?
Oh, that pass almost picked off there out of the air by Drake Powell. 10 seconds on this possession. Key left it short. Alexander the board. Follow no. Tipped around. And Ian Jackson wins the race to the loose basketball. North Carolina can cut it to single digits. Davis for 3. Yes! Timeout Flyers, an 11-3 run here for North Carolina.
Starting to feel like Chapel Thrill here at Lahaina Civic Center as R.J. Davis, the pullback, the 3-ball, puts on his 3 goggles to make sure you can see him clearly. And Roy is loving it here as the Tar Heel chant starts to go from each side of the building, similar to the way it happens at the Dean Dome.
It doesn't get much better than this.
It does not. When you consider the followings of both these teams, to be able to show up thousands of miles away from home, supporting their respective teams. You hear it now, the Dayton Flyer faithful showing back up. They've got their chant going. This is college basketball at its finest.
As close as North Carolina has been on the scoreboard since it was 29-22 with 7 minutes left in the first half.
Elliot Cadeau back on the floor playing with the 4 fouls now for North Carolina.
Hitting the 10-minute mark here of half 2. Malachi Smith off the glass, no. Rebound Trimble, looking to push, and finishes at the rim. 17 for Seth Trimble. Ten seconds to shoot on this possession. Key gets it deep. Goes up and hammers it down.
Big bucket by Zed Key right there, going to the post. The spin move off of Ben Allen Lubin, and it didn't matter who was coming over to help. Zed Key was flushing that one home.
First bucket of the second half for Zed Key. Davis. And the rebound off to the Flyers. And we have a whistle away from the ball. You had Hubert Davis, who was stomping on the floor along the North Carolina sideline.
Zed Key catching it in post position, and then the spin. A little bit of a chicken wing, but it doesn't matter. The finish over the top. Zed Key, who's that masked man, getting the job done on the block.
Grad transfer, spent the last 4 years at Ohio State. Close to 900 career points with the Buckeyes. Played in the 2022 Maui Invitational with Ohio State. He's done it the right way because he prepped at Long Island Lutheran, and they competed in the Iolani Classic, which is one of the top high school basketball tournaments held in Honolulu, Hawaii. So that's now 3 basketball trips he's made out to the islands.
Not bad.
And a kick is going to be called, and that is going to give the ball to the Tar Heels.
Right now, expect to see R.J. Davis with a lot of movement. See if you can get him a 3. And if he's unable to get the 3, he'll open someone else up.
Oh, he gets open. What a pass that was. Cadeau finding his mate, and Davis drains it.
And Enoch Cheeks tried to cheat the screen. Elliot Cadeau too clever to see that, and R.J. Davis changing direction, fading on the screen.
19 points for R.J. Davis. The lead down to 5 here for Dayton. Bennett leaves it short. Out to Cheeks. Open 3. Got it!
The response, once again, the second time in this half alone, we've seen Enoch Cheeks respond from that corner.
Washington will try from straight on. Trimble going up and getting the offensive board and follows it up and in and 1. Seth Trimble taking it to another level here in Lahaina.
Seth Trimble chasing down the offensive rebound. The spin, the finish, Malachi Smith with the foul. And Seth Trimble having himself a great time here in Paradise. Hubert Davis, Seth Trimble animated in the huddle right now, imploring their team to find a way to get back into this game. And then, of course, R.J. Davis with a huge three. On the other end, Enoch Cheeks answers with the three, and then Seth Trimble with the offensive rebound, the putback. A little stare at the camera, a flex, all to the delight of the Seth Trimble fan club, which is absolutely in the building. A lot of North Carolina 7 jerseys in the stands right now. Dad Trevor, Mom Laurent, sister Sophie, all in the mix. Watching Seth have himself a big evening here as the Trimble crew has shown up. Sophie got to make sure she gets camera ready. So we talked about this yesterday. I said, Sophie, make sure you're prepared. You're going to be on camera as long as Seth is doing something. Well, to be clear, Seth is doing a lot. Look at Sophie nodding her head. Sophie cannot say that I did not keep my word.
Her bro has 20 points and 7 boards. R.J. Davis with 19 for Carolina. Back to within 5. Here is Smith trying to go glass. Good box out there by Washington on Key. Davis the other way. What a finish! 21 points for R.J. Davis.
He's an All-American for a reason, Kanoa. He plays his best when the moments are the brightest.
3-point ball game. Cheeks, can he do it again? And we're going to have a foul against North Carolina as Zed Key and Jalen Washington were battling for the board.
R.J. Davis not settling for a three in transition, using his ball handling ability, the crafty move to get to the right hand off the glass. And now the officials are actually going to go over and look for a hook and hold. And we had 2 of these 3 members in the crew at the game Friday night where North Carolina played at Hawaii, and we had a textbook hook and hold. Eric Curry and Jamel Smearman were
Previous
both in that
play is
game.
under review. They're calling the 4 as a foul on 13 White.
So Jalen Washington picking up the foul, but yeah, they're going to check to see the hook and hold here.
So you see the left arm early, and now Zeb Key gets his, well, let's see. No, that would be Jalen Washington pulling Zeb Key's arm. So yes, that could be a hook and hold on Washington there. I believe that is going to be the call. Jalen Washington getting under the arm, clamping down, trying to keep Zeb Key from being able to jump. And I think that is going to be another example of a hook and hold. Great job by this officiating crew catching that in live action, knowing that it was an opportunity to go over and look at it.
So if you're donning the zebra stripes, you're considering that a hook and hold?
I would. It's simply because when you see Washington on the ground, he's got...
After review, the previous play has been upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul on 13 White. We'll resume play with 2 free throws for red, and then red ball out of bounds on the baseline, resuming play.
And that's the right call. And again, flagrant 1 for a hook and hold. And Hubert Davis not even arguing that when he understands that is absolutely the case. Once again, another textbook example of what a hook and hold is. And of course, you're trying to get that out of the game. Too many injuries have been caused in the game of basketball for plays as such.
So Zed Key will stand by himself at the free throw line here. They'll get the 2 shots and the ball. It was interesting. Seth Trimble had a few things to say to Zed here before these attempts. His first free throw attempt of the game, and he knocks it down.
Didn't affect Zed.
He's been there, done that. As a team captain during his time at Ohio State, drills both of them no problem.
Yeah, neither one of those free throws touched the rim. That's all nets twice. And again, when you do it the second time, that shows it was no fluke. This is what I do. Could be a big possession for the Flyers. A 4 or 5 point possession opportunity right here to get some separation.
Oh, how about the defense there by Powell? 6 seconds to shoot. Santos gets the roll.
4-point possession after North Carolina had cut into the lead. And just like that, you're able to stretch it back to 7.
Largest lead of the game for Dayton was 21 earlier in this second half. Ten seconds.
Got to get out of his way.
Davis will let it fly. Oh, he thought that was good.
And I don't mind that shot from RJ, but you want to push everybody away and just go by Zed Key. No way Zed Key has a chance to stay in front of RJ once he puts it in drive.
The three-headed monster for Carolina definitely leading the way. 51 combined points. And Davis and Trimble have accounted for the last 16 for the Tar Heels. Zed Key, though, unable to hit that turnaround.
And
rebound ripped away by Powell.
5-on-3.
Here's Trimble. The foul and the bucket.
You had 2 players from Dayton down in the backcourt. Great recognition by Seth Trimble as Trevor looks on. Excited to see his son playing at this level in attack mode, getting to the rim and finishing an opportunity for a 3-point play to make this a 4-point game.
A guy who averaged 5 points in 17 minutes per game last season.
And put his name in the transfer portal. Rarely do you see a guy in today's game enter the portal and then end up staying in his same scenario and tripling their scoring average on the season.
And doing better than that here in this game. 23 to lead all scorers for Seth Trimble. Santos, tough drive, finish, +1.
And there has continued to be a response by the Flyers each and every time. Whether it's Enoch Cheeks or Nate Santos, they are finding ways to keep North Carolina at bay.
Nate Santos, all A-10 third-teamer a season ago, was 4th in the conference with a 42% three-point percentage. Underwent hip surgery in the offseason. But he has come back and he has been a strong contributor. Took a shot to the nose earlier in the game. They had to treat that as it was bleeding, and he now has 13 points here in this ball game. Comes from a hoop family, mom, dad, 2 sisters, and brother, all at some point in their respective careers played in the Puerto Rican national program. In low, oh, what a finish.
Jalen Washington, give him credit. He's answered the bell here in this second half. That time keeping it high, finishing, not bringing it down, allowing the guards to affect the basketball.
Closing in on 5 minutes to play. Bounce pass, Key couldn't handle it. A breakout opportunity here. It's Trimble.
That's been the answer. This second half, that's been the answer, is Seth Trimble. He started out knocking down threes, and now in the second half, he has been in attack mode at the rim.
15 of his game-high 25 coming after halftime. Cheeks for 3. That one doesn't go. Offensive rebound by Simon. Here's Bennett from the corner. That's good. Dayton continues to respond.
The Flyers are making it clear, we ain't going nowhere.
And that is Washington with the and one.
And look at him going to the bench, letting his teammates know, I'm here. Brent Hampton getting involved in the mix, gets a little bump. Brent laughs it off. Jalen Washington finishing through contact. The hoop, the harm, and as he's over, chest bumping with his teammates, watch the official. Brent Hampton coming to the mix. Oh, a little friendly fire.
Yeah, catching
That's
a stray.
Okay.
Meanwhile, 4th foul on Zed Key. So he and Nate Santos each with 4. And a three-point play completed by Jalen Washington. Both fan bases turning up the volume knob. Key spins baseline, gathers himself.
And great hands by Drake Powell. He knocked that off of Zed Key's leg, forcing another turnover. And now the Tar Heels will get the basketball back when we return with an opportunity to tie this basketball game down 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. By Hawaiian Airlines, serving Maui with nonstop flights from Kahului to 10 West Coast cities. And by Westin, rediscover Maui and experience elevated luxury at the Westin Maui Resort and Spa, Ka'anapali. Now it's time for our play of the game, driven by Continental Tire. Enoch Cheeks has come up big in some clutch moments, Corey.
Well, that may have been the most impressive shot, but his defense, his steals, his big shot making, especially from that corner 3, not once, but twice, as Enoch Cheeks responded to a run from the North Carolina Tar Heels with big threes in the corner for our Continental play of the game.
Largest lead for Dayton was 21. That was with just under 18 minutes left here in this second half. North Carolina has cut it down to 3 here. 3:48 left to play. And what a capper. Day 1, this edition of the Maui Invitational in its return to Lahaina has been absolutely dazzling. And buckle up, because we've got a fine finish in front of us here in the nightcap. Here's Davis. Trying to turn the corner, and a defensive foul by one official, it seems at least, was going to go against Javon Bennett, but now a discussion. And they are going to get Javon Bennett for the foul. That'll result in a 1-and-1 bonus attempt here for R.J. Davis.
I can appreciate them coming together on this one, because the original bump, because what Brent Hampton saw was R.J. Davis's footstep on the baseline. When he came over to talk to Jamel Spearman about whether the foul happened beforehand, to make sure that it was, Spearman was very clear that the contact happened beforehand, which was the reason why R.J. stepped on the baseline.
So Santos checking back in for Dayton, playing with the 4 fouls. Davis hits the front end, earns himself another. Second one is good. Davis now with 23 points. He's 6 of 7 from the charity stripe.
In a one-point game, this is as close as Carolina has gotten it, and they've been able to do it with their defense. Can they get another stop here and get an opportunity to take a lead?
Smith. Too much obstruction there provided by Jalen Washington. Chance for Carolina to take the lead. Washington will shoot free throws. A blocking foul is called against Zed Key, and that is his 5th. He is done for the evening.
And Zed Key, who has been very effective on the block versus this North Carolina team, now disqualified with 3 minutes remaining, as Jalen Washington has continued to grow up here in this second half. Hubert Davis was not happy with his effort in the first half, but you've got to applaud the young fella for responding here in the second, and now an opportunity for him to take a lead.
Misses the first free throw. Exactly 3 minutes to go. Chance here for Washington to tie this game for the first time since it was 2020. Leaves that one short.
Missed opportunity there for North Carolina, who's been a great free throw shooting team all season long, coming in shooting over 80%.
Layton for three. They just keep on doing it whenever North Carolina is in the mix.
But
the Flyers able to make a huge bucket.
And the freshman stepping up as though he's been here before in only his 6th career game.
Davis, that one off the heel. Good chase down there by Trimble. And collides there with Malachi Smith, who picks up the defensive foul.
And Seth Trimble will go back to the line. But Amel Latong, the A-10 Rookie of the Week, steps up, knocks down his 3rd three-point field goal on the night. And the freshman just steps back on the floor after Zed Key fouls out and has a huge bucket.
Malachi Smith, by the way, picking up his 4th foul on that play. This ACC Network women's volleyball matchup is so big it could be the best of the season. Number 1 Pitt taking on number 3 Louisville with the ACC regular season title and the number 1 seed in the nation on the line. Coverage begins Wednesday night at 7 Eastern.
That's a big matchup there. Louisville is normally volleyball U. However, the Panthers have been great all season long. Looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. This has been a great one. 2-point differential closing in on 2 minutes to go. Bennett rises. That one rattles and pops out. And Enoch Cheeks almost did it again.
Another one. You can see he makes the habit of doing that. Great timing, waiting for the defensive rebound to come down and then getting his hands in the mix, coming away with the steal. Unable to get the possession that time, but still forced the dead ball, allowing Dayton to set up their full court pressure.
Another opportunity for the Tar Heels to either tie or take the lead. Elliot Cadeau playing with his 4 fouls. They get it to Davis. Step back behind the 3. And the Tar Heels lead. Smith, right back at ya.
And he holds the phone to his ear. Make sure to let you know to holler at me. Knocking down a huge 3. Both the New York City guards making big plays down the stretch.
Left corner. This is Powell.
Drake Powell did not start the season off shooting the basketball very well. However, 2 huge threes out of that corner for the freshman who's playing at his dream school of North Carolina.
These 2 teams trading blows. Layton for 3 off the mark. R.J. Davis secures it. And a timeout signaled by Hubert Davis. North Carolina has come all the way back from down 21 earlier in this second half to take the lead.
But we're talking about some of the best doing it. R.J. Davis, a first-team All-American a season ago with a big bucket, but not to be outdone by Malachi Smith, who knocks down the huge 3 and is happy to be back on the court after 2 injury-riddled seasons. The freshman, Drake Powell, 3-ball, corner pocket, is good to give the Heels a 1-point lead.
Yeah, Drake Powell, who grew up about 30 minutes away from Chapel Hill, always dreamed of playing for North Carolina so that he could be in these kinds of games, in those kinds of moments, and coming up big with that shot there. Another reason why North Carolina was able to change the tone and complexion of this one. They had 12 turnovers in the first half, Corey, just 2 since.
I can tell you right now, in halftime, there were a bunch of bejeebies, because that's Hubert Davis's, that's his version of a bad word. And I'm sure he said bejeebies a lot at halftime, talking about the turnovers, and his team absolutely got the message. No one more so than Jalen Washington, who has shown up huge here in this second half. But the Tar Heels have absolutely done a much better job taking care of the basketball and forced Dayton to have to beat them in the half court.
Yeah, they have not turned the ball over since the 13-29 mark. Again, it was a 21-point game at the 17:46 portion of this second half. Maui Invitational comebacks. Number 2 UConn fell short, overcame a 13-point deficit in the final 4 minutes. They forced overtime but would fall to Memphis there. Auburn coming back from down 18 late in the first half against Iowa State. So a number 2 and a number 5 both falling here on day 1 in Lahaina. North Carolina in front after having trailed by as many as 21. Oh, how Mr. Walton would have loved all of this.
I can only imagine how our guy Bill Walton will be describing this. And of course, he will also be describing the beautiful scenery that is Maui and how happy he is to be back here in the beautiful city of Lahaina.
So Elliot Cadeau controls here. Tar Heels up a point. Oh, the poke away by Posh Alexander.
But you see this matchup coming out, right? Jalen Washington has Posh Alexander guarding him. Now, of course, Hubert Davis drew up what he wanted, and I understand that. So you're going to run that. But as the point guard of this team, I'm thinking, hey, listen, we got to call that off. Look at this matchup. Posh is trying to guard Jalen.
And an offensive foul goes against R.J. Davis.
Because the shot clock was down after the defensive possession by Posh Alexander to knock the basketball all the way down the floor.
And Roy Williams was run into there by Javon Bennett, and great to see Roy smiling. He was checking on Javon Bennett to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Roy is taking more than enough charges in his day. As you see the left arm push off, Bennett has drawn a number of those. He did it early in the game against Elliot Cadeau, and then draws another one here, turnover, and now Dayton with an opportunity to take the league back with 27.8 remaining.
All right, we got to make sure we take care of the valuable merchandise there in the front row. That is the legendary Roy Williams.
Hey, Roy knows the rules. Roy absolutely knows the rules. You sit in the first row, you're subject to get run into. And I'm sure at some point in Roy's coaching career, he went out and told one of his guys, this is how you take a charge. And so he just showed it on the sidelines. And I mean, again, he was the one who turned out better of it. He had to check on the player from Dayton to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
Of course, big body Roy over on the sideline.
Yeah, and let out the vintage Roy Williams smile. All right, so each team with a timeout here, 1 point game. What do you want to see from Dayton here on this possession?
Right now, I want the ball in Malachi Smith's hands, but most likely trying to make something happen for either Enoch Cheeks or Nate Santos to be able to get a look. It doesn't have to be a three because you have the ability to be able to drive it down the floor. But if I am Dayton, I want to go away from Seth Trimble. I want to attack either Elliot Cadeau, who has put 4 fouls, or R.J. Davis, because you most likely have a size advantage over those two defenders. You don't want to go at Seth Trimble, who's the best perimeter defender for this North Carolina team.
So 27.8 on the clock. No shot clock here, but Dayton trailing by 1. Fouls have played a role here in this one as well. 4 fouls apiece for Elliot Cadeau and R.J. Davis on the Carolina side. Zed Key has already fouled out for Dayton. 4 fouls for each Santos and Malachi Smith.
As you survey the floor right now, you've got Cadeau guarding Bennett. You've got Trimble guarding Cheeks. I would like to get something going. If I'm Malachi Smith, I want to try to find a way to get my shoulders past R.J. Davis and get downhill.
It is Smith. 20 seconds on the clock. Santos launches a 3. Misses short side. Rebound by Davis, and he is fouled in the backcourt by Javon Bennett.
And I'm not questioning it because you got a good look from your best shooter. However, down 1, if you attack the basket, you give yourself a chance for 2 or 3 things to happen. 1, you can get a bucket. Secondly, you could get a foul and get to the free throw line. It's great execution by the Flyers. However, down 1, I would prefer to put the pressure on the officials to make a call with one of my elite level guards attacking downhill.
Now you have Davis at the line. He has the best career free throw percentage in UNC history. And he knocks both of them down. So the lead is 3, 14.2 remaining, and North Carolina signals for the timeout.
And now you're Hubert Davis at this point, down up 3. Do you foul? That's the age-old question. And so coaches have their different philosophies. But if you are going to foul, how do you do it? Do you want to foul in the backcourt to make sure that you don't get caught up giving up a 3-point field goal attempt and fouling and giving away 3 free throws? Because if I'm going to do it, then I would just do it in the backcourt to make sure you don't take the chance. Of course, you give them more time to extend the game, but yet you don't want to risk fouling on a 3-point attempt.
Dayton, 11 of 13 from the free throw line for the game. They're 5 of 5 in the second half, but a pretty big free throw discrepancy, as North Carolina has attempted 32 free throws. They've hit 25 of them. What about you? What is your philosophy in these kinds of situations up 3?
To be completely honest, my philosophy is play it out and just defend the right way and try to get a hand up on a contested shot. Make sure you don't foul a 3-point shooter. But the 3-point shot is not a 50% shot. Now, again, you can have guys who shoot it very well, but you want to be able to take away the chances. And again, with 14.2 remaining, if they do make a 3, the likelihood of you still having time to get a good look is high if you're North Carolina. Everybody's different, though. I got a lot of friends and buddies in the game who they're like, you got to foul immediately. Don't give them an opportunity to tie the game.
But still enough time for Dayton to try to get something going to the rim, right?
Yes, that is definitely still a possibility. More than enough time to be able to try to get a quick 2 and then foul to extend the game.
Everybody up here at Lahaina Civic Center. 14.2 on the clock. Smith brings it across. Goes baseline, kicks it to the corner. Santos somehow knocks down the contested 3.
And again, you don't foul. I agree with Hubert Davis on the not fouling. They make a big shot. Now, I believe the officials are going to go look at this in the corner to make sure Santos was not on the 3-point line, because that very well could have been a long 2. Going to be interesting to see what happens.
Called a 3 on the floor. This will be a good angle here.
And the great execution, but look at the toes.
Oh, boy.
Look at the toes there. It looks from that angle far enough away that Santos' foot was on the 3-point line. That may be a long 2. That's a long 2. His foot is on the 3-point line. That is only. So for all the celebration, Dayton will still be down 1 point.
An amazing shot. You had Drake Powell draped all over him. He hits it, but yeah, a Kevin Durant type of situation there.
Yes.
If Nate Santos was wearing a shoe size 1 smaller, maybe that's a tie ball game, but we'll see if the officials agree with your assessment. Still, what a game we have seen here.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, games.
Yeah, what a first day.
The 2 that we've had. Think about Auburn coming back from an 18-point deficit to be able to win at the buzzer in the first ever top 5 matchup in the 41-year history of the Maui Invitational. And now we come down to this one with a shot that could have tied the game at 90, but looks as though it'll be a long 2, and it will be a 90-89 game.
They are taking an extra long look here. They want to be sure this is such a significant ruling.
Well, the issue here is the fact that with black shoes and a black line, it's hard to see if his toes are actually on the line, but with you seeing no separation between the wood and the line, you would think that shows that his foot has to be on that line. You don't see any of the beautiful wood grain in between the 2, which means I believe it's going to be a 2-point shot.
Officials have had every crew member take a look at this thing here. It's amazing, right? You have this incredible game, this incredible comeback by North Carolina, and in one of the key down the stretch moments, it can come down to a few centimeters.
Yes. And again, I agree with the officials taking all the time to see. And I'm sure they have all the angles that we have. But to me, that's pretty clear that his foot is on the three-point line. Again, if it's not, you would see the separation with the black shoe and the black line. You would see separation with just a sliver of wood grain in between the two.
The winner of this one gets Auburn in the semifinal round of the Maui Invitational tomorrow. And now a huddle after every official had a peek. And they call it a 2.
After further review, the shot by Red is determined to be a 2. We'll place 6.1 seconds on the game clock and start with an inline throw-in.
And that's just really tough luck for Nate Santos, who made an incredible shot.
It really is. Incredible shot. Great execution by the Dayton Flyers. But to be able to run that hammer action and get him to the corner and to be able to get his feet organized behind the line would be difficult. But this game is far from over with 6.1 remaining.
No timeouts for either side, and R.J. Davis is immediately fouled. You had Bennett initially in the area, and he will pick it up. That is his 5th.
Even if R.J. Davis does make this free throws, both free throws, it's still a one-possession game. Now, at this point, with 4.3 remaining, if I'm Hubert Davis, the philosophy changes. Now I foul. It could be with this amount of time remaining. If R.J. makes both, of course, you got to start with making both. But then now maybe I foul in the backcourt and don't give them an opportunity to even get the 3 off.
Well, if you are Hubert Davis, this is the exact individual you want at the free throw line in this situation.
Yes.
No timeouts for either side. Bennett has just fouled out, so a few extra moments being taken for the Flyers to send in a sub. It looks like Hamad Musa is going to come in.
You want to take as long as you can to try to find a way to ice R.J. Davis. Take as much time as you can, sending him to the free throw line.
And Powell comes in for Elliot Cadeau for defensive purposes.
Well, defensive purposes, and also if you're going to foul, Elliot Cadeau has 4 fouls. So, I mean, just in case this game does go to overtime, you don't want him to be the guy that fouls.
A lot of iron in R.J. Davis's diet there on that free throw, but it goes. 29 points for R.J. Davis. Give him a 30-burger.
Never a doubt.
And so a 3-point game. No timeouts for Dayton. 4.3 to try to get something up.
And again, Hubert Davis could very well play this out, force them to try to make it 3. But if he's going to foul, it most likely will be on the catch.
It's Smith.
That's
and a reach and foul. There it was.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's the way you do it. Seth Trimble looks over at the bench, gives him the thumbs up, executes that perfectly. Only 2 seconds remaining, and now you have to make the first one and then a perfect miss on the second one for a tip out to your teammates. And it's got to be a 3 to beat you. Even if you tip it out and they make it 2 after have made 1, you still find yourself in overtime.
So Malachi Smith, 1 for 3 from the line. Hits the all-important first one. And now you got to get artful here.
And now you send in your big guys. Now you send in the biggest group you have to be able to come up with a rebound. In North Carolina right now with 6 players on the floor, somebody's got to there. Drake Powell gets off.
Nobody in this building, aside from some of the bench players and us sitting down. There's the miss. Trimble secures it. And North Carolina pulls off an epic comeback, trailing by 21 in the second half to advance to the semifinal round in this 2024 Maui Invitational presented by Novavax.
But the Dayton Flyers continue to fight. Every response available. The Tar Heels just better in the second half.
We are told it ties the second largest comeback in North Carolina history.
And you're talking about one of the most storied traditions, one of the greatest histories of college basketball, to see the second greatest comeback here on night number 1 of the Maui Invitational. What else can happen throughout this tournament? Stay tuned and see.
We got 2 more days. Are you sure you're up to it? As we take a look at our player of the game, brought to you by Tommy Bahama. It was fitting that Trimble secured that last rebound because he was just incredible. 27 points, 10 of 14 from the field, 10 rebounds. And the Tar Heels do something pretty special here in Lahaina.
They absolutely have done something special. More importantly, they get an opportunity to move on and play against a big-time Auburn Tigers team tomorrow. You're talking about a heavyweight matchup in the semifinal round of the Maui Invitational.
So it's Memphis and Michigan State at 6 Eastern on ESPN in semifinal number 1, and then number 4 Auburn, 12th ranked North Carolina at 11 Eastern on ESPN. Heck, you got 2 nationally ranked teams in the consolation bracket of this tournament. What a day 1 in Lahaina.